Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And as you can see, we have company tonight. Sam, introduce our guest.
Well, our usual Brent, Duncan, and glad to have a student here tonight, Rudy Branstetter. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Brent, tell us about this young man. What's the deal? Why is he here?
Well, each school has an opportunity each year to nominate a student for the Student Advisory Committee at the IHSAA.
Okay.
Of course, we put one in every year. There were about 70 kids around the state, so not everybody puts one in, but we've nominated. 2 years ago we nominated Riley Loper, and unfortunately she didn't get to the interview process. And then last year we nominated Evan Schaefer, has to be a rising junior, which Rudy's a junior this year. And Evan got to the interview round, which means he made the final 20, but didn't get down to the final 9. And Rudy made it to the interview round, and then he was selected by the 9 returning seniors as one of the 9 incoming juniors to serve on the IHSAA Student Advisory Committee for the next 2 years. So Rudy will get to work at the state finals and hand out trophies and medals and do some things. Be a good experience for him and get to meet a lot of different people around the state over the next 2 years.
Rudy, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
It's quite an honor.
Yeah.
Over 400 schools in the state, and as you say, they all don't nominate someone, but many of them do. You go through the process of interview. Were you nervous at the interview?
Yeah, of course I was nervous. But,
Good experience though, right?
yeah, it definitely is.
Well, and then unfortunately for Rudy, this year's interviews were different. In the previous years, the last 20 come to the IHSAA on a Sunday afternoon, and we spend starting in the morning, and we spend all day interviewing the actually 9 returning seniors interviewing. There's 3 different rooms. So there'll be three kids in each room. Well, actually all 18 from the previous year will be there, so there'll be 6 in each room. The outgoing seniors and the incoming juniors are typically there, and then they just move from room to room every so many minutes. And unfortunately this year we had it all do it on Zoom meetings, so a little different doing the interviews. I'm sitting in my tie and my shirt and my coat and my shorts at home, because nobody knows that I'm sitting in my shorts because I'm not in the office at the IHSAA. But a little different. The kids did a good job. Rudy had a good interview, and thank goodness that the other 9 saw him fit to be part of the committee for the next 2 years. I find it ironic that we also have a girl from Rushville that's on it. And the last time we had a person from Carsville, there was a girl from Rush. This girl's sister was on it, so it's kind of unique that the last 2 times we've had a member, which our first one was Olivia McMillan. Her mom's the secretary at the high school, and just odd that us and Rushville have been on it at the same time. Both times we've had members on it, so it's kind of neat.
What kind of questions did they ask you, Rudy?
Well, some questions were more personal, like what's my favorite TV show? And then others were a little bit harder, and why I wanted to be on the committee, and how I could help, and how I would make decisions when I was on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'd say it was a large variety of different questions thrown at me. So I had to prepare for everything.
You want to find out a lot about you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
With all your studies, I understand you're a very good student and #1 in your class right now. All that, how do you fit this in? How do you make time for doing this as well?
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions they asked me. So what I told them and what I'll tell you is I've had to cut things out of my schedule before that are unnecessary. Mm-hmm. So like when I've played too many sports in the past with my schoolwork, I've had to stop doing things that are fun but not needed, like things like watching TV or playing video games, stuff like that. Instead, I'll have to study extra or spend extra time on the more important things.
So good time management skills helps prepare you to get to college.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great.
And when you do it through the interview process, I had to nominate him, then he got a packet from the IHSAA that he had to write essays on up to so many words, and then they read through all those, and then the committee that selects it, there's, I don't know, 7 of us or so on the board, and then we read through all of them, and then we rank them from where we think they fit. I don't get to rank my own, but
Yeah, sure.
we all get to rank the kids, and then they start selecting based on how many. Then the kids pick the ones that are coming in out of the top 20 or so. So it's a good experience. It'll be a good thing to have for his resume, and I know it's opened up a lot of doors for Olivia down the road because, you're going to have the commissioners on your resume, and you get to work with the Champions Together program, which is a Special Olympics program, and I'm sure Rudy will be doing some things with that in the next 2 years. But he has to work football state finals, and he has to work the basketball state finals, at least one day of them, and then they each pick something else that they want to do throughout all 3 of the seasons. So it's a good experience. I've worked soccer the last couple of years, and it's been cold some days, and October's, you never know. So but if you're indoors, it's a lot better. But they'll all dress the same, and they'll help hand out the trophies, or at least bring them to the executive committee members that are going to present them. And so they'll get their names announced at the state finals when they're working, and get to meet the governor and the mayor at Indy usually, and whoever else comes into the suites where the kids are at. They'll help take people around. So I think it'll be a good experience for him.
With the responsibilities of, in addition to working championship games, what's the major responsibility of the committee?
You want to get it or you want it? He's still learning. They haven't had too many meetings yet, so the COVID's kind of put a little restraint. Usually we have a 2-day retreat in the summertime. They go down to a place close to Martinsville, Bradford Woods, I think is the name. Part of IU's campuses, and they'd spend 2 days there doing just bonding activities and getting to know who's who in the IHSAA and different ways you greet people based on their title, of how you handshake and how you look them in the eye. And I know they always say, I think they say, I like you, I may love you, but I want no more of you. And then they switch partners to go talk about something else. And Robert Falkins and Carrie Schludecker, the 2 assistant commissioners, do a great job with the kids. It was just unfortunate they didn't get to experience that overnight, because last year they did the rope climbing thing where you had to depend on your teammates to help you get across the guy wires and without touching the ground.
Okay.
And I think this year they were going to do the tower climb, and they have to build a raft that you have to figure out how to float it in the water, and all 6 of you get on and get it paddled out and paddled back with whatever tools and equipment you have to get it together. So it's a lot of good experience from that side, but hopefully it'll pan out for him down the road. But
I think you're a vital part of the Special Olympics, aren't you?
yeah, the Student Advisory Committee probably close to a decade ago decided that's what they wanted to take on. So there'll be some Special Olympic kids at most of our athletic events, or at least some of the state final events. And part of their job will be to help take care of them and take them around and show them places. I don't want to say take care of them, but I mean take care of them as treating them well and taking them places they need to go and spending time with them. And I'm sure Rudy will approach me about getting our Champions Together banner, which we haven't had yet, which you got to do certain things criteria-wise to raise money and have an event. And we'll look at all those things. So it'll be a different experience. And like I said, unfortunately for him, he's not had the opportunity to get in and do what most of them. I think they're all in a text group together and a chat group together. He probably has a mentor that's a senior that he's kind of buddied up with. And who's your, remember his name? He may not have been there. You had a couple that were not there when we met. So,
Yeah.
But, so it'll be a good experience.
So it's a 2-year term, and your term just started with the beginning of school? Okay. So you'll be senior next year, so you'll be on the other end of interviewing and being you're a leader now. I know you must have leadership abilities, or you wouldn't have been nominated.
Yeah. So I'm hoping next year I get to have a more normal year and get to see what it's usually like. So I'm kind of excited for that, and to do the retreat with everyone and all those fun activities. So, and not only that, but to pick the next group is huge.
Yeah.
They will, and he has had opportunity to do it. They plan the largest one-day student leadership conference, which has about 1,000 kids come to Plainfield High School. And the seniors that are on the outgoing seniors are the ones who get that planned. So that'll be his task next year, to get all the speakers and all the sessions.
Okay.
To be part of that. And they do that all day at Plainfield High School, assuming it'll stay at Plainfield. So good experience just to get out and hobnob with the people and get to meet people from around the country and come and talk and present to the kids and about colleges and what college life is and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And they have a magician that comes in and gives a story and entertains the kids. And it's a long day, but it's a good day.
You have to be an athlete to be nominated?
Have to be an athlete. Everybody's on there something different. Rudy's playing golf and running track, and we've had tennis players and swimmers and baseball and football, you name it. They're all They're all pretty good in their class. They're all usually pretty high up in their class as far as academics go. And next year he'll have an opportunity to run for the president or the vice president of the student advisory committee if that's something he finds he wants to do. And there's a little extra responsibility with those 2 spots. So I find it really interesting. Rudy is really quiet typically. He was pretty quiet at the one-day retreat we kind of had at the IHSAA, but I always think back to the kid who was from Castle High School 2 years ago, and he was probably more quiet than Rudy was his junior year and couldn't make him be quiet last year as a senior. So those things change as kids get older and they get to know each other a little bit better. So.
What's your best subject, Rudy?
In school? That's a hard one. My favorite is probably between chemistry and math, I'd say. So those come easier to me.
What do you want to go into when you leave high school and go to college? What do you want to study then?
Well, of course I want to go to college, but I'm not really sure what I want to do yet. I think it'd be cool to possibly go into the medical field, but I'm not set on that at all.
That math and chemistry right now would go a long way to helping you get there, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No interest in following Dad's footsteps at this time?
No, I don't think so, but my sister is right now.
Is the one at Yale or?
Yeah, so she's going to law school, I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
Well, that'll make Dad proud to have another lawyer in the family.
Yeah.
He was chosen as a representative of the students at the athletic center in dedication, wasn't he?
Yeah, him and Hope Kelly came and spoke on behalf of our student body about what the athletic field house now means to the kids and what opportunities that it could present to it. So anytime if he's on the committee that's on it, we can get him out in front of the public to speak. That'll be good for him and good for all those kids. So.
Right. When's your next meeting of this advisory committee?
I think it's in September, isn't it? It's coming up soon.
Yeah. It's usually on a Sunday afternoon, actually Sunday morning, probably around, well, you have to remember every kid's driving from all over the state. We have some coming from as far away as LaVille, and which if you're not sure, in LaPorte, and Portage, and then we got some coming from down south at, North Harrison and Mount Vernon, which is in Posey County, which is way in the last school in the southwest corner of the state. And we got kids at North Vermilion, which is on the west side of the state. And so they're coming from all over. So they start and then they stay there for about 4 or 5 hours and they get to make the little trek back home. So it's always on a Sunday afternoon because none of the kids have athletic conflicts that interfere.
Well,
they meet 4 times a year.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's a great experience for a young person.
Yeah, I don't think everybody realizes the opportunities that we try to give our kids to get involved with. And there's Gene Cato scholarships that we always nominate somebody for that's a good student, and there's different things that you can nominate kids. So we always try to make sure we have an opportunity to put somebody out there and give them the opportunity. It doesn't mean they always get it, but you have to think of the 70, half of the 18 are girls and half of the 18 are boys, so you're down to 9.
Okay.
So you get down to 20, if you think you got a 10-10 split, they're only going to take about 4 of the girls and 5 of the boys, or vice versa, typically. So this year is a little bit different because there was a lot of returning girls for some reason from this year. So, obviously they were going to pick a few more boys, but that was okay. We worked out well.
As a member of the executive committee, how do you rely on these kids for suggestions or?
Well, typically they'll go to the fall area principal meetings, which unfortunately they're not having this year either, and we're going to try to do them in spring. But they'll go and present to kids at those places, and they kind of pull the kids of what they think they would like to see in athletics at the high school level, and then they can report them around from the. Okay. Usually there's 6 different meetings in the fall, and unfortunately those are going to be on Zoom, so these guys don't get to go present their stuff to the kids at the schools to get. But I think they talked about. If I remember right from the retreat, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think they talked about maybe pulling them somehow through some type of a survey like Monkey or whatever to get their ideas and thoughts about what they think that needs to be changed, and everybody thinks that the board at the IHSAA makes the changes, but truly the principals in the state are the ones who get all the suggestions. So all the bylaws come from the principals around the state of Indiana.
Okay.
Then they're voted on whether they're good, better, and different, or needed to be added or not considered at all. So everybody always thinks, as they say, the stuffy old men sitting in the, and there are ladies on the board, so it's not all stuffy old men. And there's ladies that work in the executive office. So, but truly all the bylaw rules and changes come from the principals around the state, and then they get presented to the board. So,
Yeah. How long has this committee been in existence?
you know what? I can't answer that question. I know they got a history of it on their website
Have
that
they?
you can go back and see all the old student advisory committees. So it's been at least as long as I've been doing these jobs. So it's at least 12. So, but to say exactly, I can't answer that question without
Sure.
checking that page out.
Right.
So
But it's been around a while.
it's been around
Yes.
over a decade at least.
Okay, yeah. I just, go ahead, Sam.
I was just going to ask Rudy, missed a lot of the end of school last year and now back at school with a lot of restrictions. How's that going for you and for your friends and fellow classmates?
Well, I think with the situation, the schools made it the best they can. So I'd say that's going well. Of course, it's not ideal of what we want it to be with no virus or anything. Last year, I really wish I could have played my spring sports. I was really excited for that. So when we went home for a while, I was still practicing. And then when I learned we weren't going back, I did not like that. But I'm really excited for this year and also for the upcoming year. So.
Yeah, and hopefully, I don't know what normal is, but hopefully sports can continue, and as well as your academics.
Yeah.
Better talk about football here and some of the other sports that's coming up this week here at CHS. Girls golf at home with Richmond on Monday. Tuesday, the boys tennis will be at South Dearborn. Volleyball home with Shenandoah. Is that a JV game at 5:30? I noticed the time was 5:30.
Yeah, we always try to start our volleyball games at 5:30. Last week we had to start Greenfield at 6 because they had a bus issue problem. So we try to, just like basketball and football, we try to make it consistent with volleyball. So we try to start at 5:30 in the field house. It was supposed to be with Newcastle, but their girls are not out of the quarantine time yet until September 5th, so they won't be able to play their first game. So by chance, Shenandoah was also supposed to play Newcastle, so it just worked out that we had this date open, and we had officials and they were open, so they said they would come and play us. So worked out well. So be the first time we've probably played Shenandoah at anything for a while. I think we played them in tennis for boys. And other than that, I don't know that we play them in many things. So they're always a very competitive, 2A school and have some solid programs. So be interested to see what they bring tomorrow. And, we're getting some of our girls back. And unfortunately, last week we had 4 out for one reason or another. And we still have 2 out because of injuries. So hopefully we'll get everybody back at full strength here before long. So I know Stephanie and Teresa are excited. And I know we've won 1 game, but we've also seen a lot of improvement in the last year in our kids.
Good.
So we would have had a volleyball league for our 3rd through 6th graders or 3rd through 8th graders this spring, but unfortunately we got shut down, and Coach was excited about trying to get our younger kids in to try to get our volleyball program built back up. So I hope that her and Teresa will do a good job. We've got 2 new middle school coaches at the middle school. We got it's Lynn Houston now, used to be Lynn Ross, played, and she played at IUPI, and Jamie Ham, which is now Jamie Becker, is helping her, and Teresa Isaacs, who coached a long time ago with Penny, is our assistant, and Stephanie Smith's our head coach. So I think in time we'll do okay, and I think with the development of getting a league, kind of like a dirt road basketball league with our volleyball kids, that will only make us better in the long run once we can start them at a younger age. So
Takes time, I know, but the first 250 people get in?
yeah, right now in the field house, since our seating is at 404, you're capped at 250 or 50% of your bleacher capacity. So
Okay.
we can put 202 in the field house right now. Knock on wood, we'd like to get there. We haven't been there yet, but it's also a tough situation with everybody because you hate to turn people away at the door. So, but those are the rules we have to live by right now, and
Sure.
unless something changes here locally or with the governor. So
Hopefully right. Wednesday, volleyball home with Union County. That's at 6:30.
Yeah, and the plans are for them to do senior night that night, so at least currently as of today. So we're going to try to do senior night with our volleyball girls on Wednesday.
On Thursday, a boys soccer home with Wapahani at 5 o'clock. Boys tennis at Greensburg. Girls soccer at East Central. Girls golf at Newcastle on Friday. Spartan football at Greensburg. Kickoff at 7. Saturday, boys tennis at Richmond at 9 a.m. Cross country at East Central. Invitational, also 9 o'clock start. And volleyball at Rushville at 10 a.m. Did these visiting school, or since we're the visitor, can our people come?
Yeah, but they're still going to have some restrictions, and every county is a little bit different. I know that Greensburg, we're going to get 250 tickets. I asked if I need to give out vouchers. At this time, I don't know that I have to, but he says he will cap that at the gate at 250. So I'm leaving that in his hands. So I worry about that a little bit. When I'm going to host, we're going to have vouchers, so I know you're supposed to be coming in just to make sure that we're safe. So
I worry a little bit about people like us, Fran and me, with things like that we get there and they say no, although we call ahead and we've left a message. And
well, I think they try to let what they consider essential personnel, and I don't know who they consider essential personnel, besides coaches, players, you know, and managers. They told us administrators, so I don't know what I don't know where they put the media part in that. So I would like to think, since you're in the press box, you're not truly in the stands. So.
Yeah, and like down in Greensburg, they have a visitor's press box, which you don't see often, so we're completely separated from them.
And he said that you're more than those 250 that get in, you're more than welcome to bring a lawn chair or sit along the fence if you don't feel comfortable sitting in the stand. Of course, you'll have to stay on our side, although there's not concession stands on our side unless they bring in a portable one, and there's not restrooms on our side. At least with us, we have a concession stand we can open up for the visitors and restroom. We're trying to keep them separated as best as you can, but you know, we're not out there to beat people back into the places they're supposed to be, but you know, we ask them to be respectful, wear their masks if they can't social distance, and that's sometimes the problem, you know, but that's not the mask patrol, and we're not the social distancing. We put our signs up and we request it and we read things, so I'm sure Greensburg will do the same thing. And you know, tennis is a little easier because you're outside, and soccer is because you can spread out a little bit, although sometimes our kids don't want to social distance very well and you have to get on them, but that's teenagers sometimes, so hopefully it'll continue to go the right direction.
I'm sure everyone is cooperating. On teams in the area, here's how they're doing. Union County is 1-0. They won 53-15 over Northeastern on August the 21st. They didn't play last Friday. They will meet Nicetown at Union County at home this Friday. On Cambridge City, 0-1. They lost to Centerville 48-6. August the 21st. Next game's not until September 11th. On Rushville, 0-2. They lost to Milan 48-26. They lost to Covenant Christian 68-6. They'll be at Hagerstown Friday night. Franklin County is like the Spartans, no record. The Wildcats will be at Winchester on Friday. Centerville is 2-0, wins over Cambridge City, as we said, 48-6, and Hagerstown 56-0. They'll be at Shenandoah on Friday. Richmond is 0-1. They lost their opening game to Mount Vernon 53-13. Friday they play at Indianapolis Tech. So a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Franklin County played Winchester last week and beat them 50-7.
Oh, did they?
I'm not sure who they're playing this week, but yeah, unfortunately, you know, we lost our game early in the week, and the week before we lost it on a Thursday, and we're not the only one in that bunch, and we're trending. I'll say it as I said earlier, we're trending in the correct direction at this time, and that's a positive. So we'll just hope everything for all of our sports, not just football, but for all of them, keep trending in the right direction. You know, we lost a couple of soccer games. We're making up the Richmond soccer game tonight for the girls, and trying to find a date for the make-up Newcastle, but the only 2 dates they have, we have games on already. So,
other than football, though, the other sports have at least been able to play.
Correct. So, you know, and football is just unfortunate for where we started the season for our own selves, and then the opponent got out, and then we got contact traced out again. So it's not necessarily our kids on the team for over part, but when you're sitting next to people that could have a positive and a contact trace you, then you got to quarantine. So that's just the rules we have to live by. Like them or love them or hate them or whatever, but it is the way it is right now, and you just you hope everybody is doing the right things for the protection of the people, them around them, not necessarily themselves.
And while I'm thinking about any progress on the light stanchion at the football field.
I was told today that we're on a schedule for September 22nd. So the September 11th and the September 18th game will become September 12th and September 19th games. 3 p.m. start time is what we're looking at currently.
3 p.m., okay.
That way we're not necessarily in the middle of the heat, but we'll be done before darkness gets here.
Hopefully.
So, and I don't really want, South Dearborn's our first opponent. I was talking with Ryan today, and I don't want them to have to get up and drive at 10 in the morning or 8 in the morning to try to get here for an 11 o'clock game with all the stuff you really need to do for football to get ready ahead of time. But, someone said, well, can we play on a Friday night and just get them here early? Well, it's really hard to get a team from South Dearborn here to be ready to start by 5 o'clock on a Friday to guarantee that we're going to be done in the daylight.
Even that, the days are getting shorter.
Yeah, and I've talked to both officiating crews, and they're both able to come on the 12th and the 19th, and that gives them ample time. One this week's coming from Brownsburg when we play next week, so first week with Richmond they were coming from Sellersburg, so that's way down south, and the next ones are coming from closer to Marion, so they need a little bit of time to get here so that they're comfortable as well. So it is what it is. It's where we're at, and hopefully it'll get better. And Governor comes out in September on the 25th and makes another ruling. We'll see where we're at that point in time. So
hopefully.
Well, it's a third try for a ball game coming up Friday night. Hopefully it's
third time's charm, is
right,
that what they say? So
I think you've heard people say that every so often.
I don't think anybody likes that you have to cancel games. I don't. I prefer to have our kids out playing and being a part of it, because that's part of what you do in high school when you're an athlete. You don't like for your games. The kids did have a red and white inter-squad scrimmage on Friday, which I think went well, and give them a chance to play against somebody. Even though it's yourself, you still suited up and you went out and played a game on our field with the kids only. So I think they're ready, and we'll see. We'll see what the 2020 edition of the Spartans look like. Hopefully, come Friday night. As I said last week, and I'm not going to jinx myself this week, you just don't know. It's a minute by minute, hour by hour thing at this point in time, because you don't know what's happening at other schools, and at any moment you can get that call that says we don't have a team.
Right.
And then you're on the horn trying to scramble to find somebody. As I see every day, there's somebody putting out a message: I need a game, I need a volleyball team, I lost this, I lost that. And I have officials and no team, so we'll just knock on wood that we keep trending in the right direction for the rest of the week. So.
Greensburg is 1-1. They defeated Shelbyville and lost to Triton Central. So they've had a couple of games of experience. And
yeah, and Triton Central is typically a pretty solid football program for a smaller school just outside of Shelbyville there. They've had some good teams. But, and Shelbyville's been down the last couple of years really bad. So, it's hard to read. And I'm sure Coach Jackson and their coaches have traded film and stuff over Huddle and have done their search. And I think the kids are excited and are ready to play. So, and we get volleyball going, and tennis has done well so far. And cross country's won an invite. And girls soccer's 3-0, and it's probably been a while since we've been 3-0 in girls soccer, and boys is 3-1 or 4-1. I lost track so far, but beat everybody except for East Central. I had a tough game with East Central and got beat 3-0. I'm sure I'm missing somebody out there, but we'll get it going. So girls golf, unfortunately we moved to conference, and then we had some kids that couldn't play on Saturday, so we only had 3 out of our top 5 there. And so we didn't really get to finish in the conference with any standing at all, because we couldn't field a team, because you got to have at least 4. And our 6th girl, we have 6, and she got hurt and couldn't swing the club, so kind of put us in a bind. So, but
Brent, I want to thank you for bringing Rudy with you today. And Rudy, any final word for us?
It's great to be
Just glad
here.
it's over, aren't you?
he'll be better next year when he's a senior, and he's got a little bit of experience under his belt of what really happens, because he's not been able to see that inside of that IHSAA right now, because they've just been locked out of the building for so long. So
Well, I know you'll be a great rep for CHS and in this area of the state, and we're happy that you're at where you're at.
Thank you.
Brent, thanks a lot for joining us here
Thanks
on
for having
this
us.
edition of the show.
appreciate it.
Final word, Sam?
No, just tune us in on Friday night.
Okay, bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on this Spartan Sports Report. Good evening.